right, and welcome to Fast Break Breakfast NBA podcast. My name is Keith Parrish, here once again with my buddies for the 9th season of this podcast, here with Chuck Anderson.
And now, nine years? Oh my God.
And with John Burr. This is season 9, episode 1. John, what are your initial reactions?
Deep sigh. Deep sigh. Deep sigh.
9 years ago. That's not actually true. It's been 8 full years. Because we're completing the 8th full year. But yeah, 8 years ago, we were in a very cold garage of yours, John. Your buddy was teaching me how to work a soundboard. Not even work a soundboard. How to plug in cables and get it to record onto a computer. We talked about the Kentucky Hot Browns, what Chuck had for breakfast.
Yeah, that was my first breakfast.
We did what is the perfunctory rite of passage for all podcasts. We predicted the over-unders for the Eastern Conference. And here we are once again in an endless loop that we cannot escape in a Groundhog Day.
I thought it was only 8 years, and I'm really upset that it's 9.
Well, it is again.
Okay.
It's 8 full years. We're starting season 9. My
9.
son, who was born in the second episode, essentially, he's 7. So don't let that blow your mind. But he's going to be 8 kind of soon. Yeah, in about actually in a few weeks. That first one, we did it right as the NBA season started. This one, we're doing it a solid week beforehand. I guess if we have any new listeners, we could bring people up to speed. We're picking up people all the time. Not as fast as we're throwing them off, but we're still picking up people all the time. I like this exercise. We can do it again. I like to say, which basketball player do you look like? Which basketball player, when you play pickup, do you play like? I think it's a helpful exercise to learn about our personalities. I'll go first. I look a little bit like a mixture of Gigi Datome and Sergio Rodriguez. And
maybe 9 years ago.
Maybe 9 years ago. For those from the right angles where I could resemble Chris Birdman Anderson, but those angles are changing. Now I'm just an elderly gentleman.
Now you have Joe Ingles' dad.
I got Joe Ingles' dad vibes. I felt like my basketball playing style, a gangly Tayshaun Prince, a lot of limbs flying places, awkward jump shots, lots of fouls. Chuck, you still look like Matt Geiger.
Yeah, a little. I could also go with like photo negative Kyle O'Quinn.
Sure.
Okay. Accepted. Yeah.
And then
the bar mitzvah king of New York. Yeah.
My playing style resembles late career Raymond Felton.
I like that.
I have handles, but they aren't what they used to be. And
you get heckled when you play recreational basketball.
And people yell at me continuously when I'm playing. Yeah.
John, what's your...
I got like type 2 diabetes, Christian Laettner, maybe.
That's it.
That's your NBA doppelganger.
And then my game right now is present day Bison Deli. I can't move. I can't play basketball. I can barely get up out of the bed without.
So DeAndre Jordan.
Hey, everyone is giving DeAndre Jordan for grief. Like he started a preseason game, and by the way, the PA announcer introduced him as DeAndre Ayton. Everyone's giving DeAndre Jordan grief for being like, I can't believe he's a starting player. He was so bad on the Lakers and on the Sixers. DeAndre Jordan is proof that vibes matter. And if people like being around you, you got to have a job.
It's the only reason I'm here.
Yeah. People's like, hey, DeAndre Jordan's pretty cool. I like hanging out with him. He can come be on the Nuggets. John, you're talking about the gingerly can barely move around. That's where I'm at right now. I'm actually not allowed to move around. I'm recuperating. Because hey, when we started this podcast, there was one child that we knew of. Right. Between the three of us.
But 2 children that existed.
That's the fun part.
That's the fun part.
That's the fun part. And now what's the total between us? There's like 6 kids out there.
I'm good for 1.
Okay, 5.
Similar to my basketball career. I'd make like a free throw a game.
Yeah, I have like 2.5 kids.
Okay,
I guess.
fair.
Yeah. There's a child I spend a lot of time with. I've gone to a bunch of her soccer games, but she's not technically my kid. But I have 2 kids. No. Biologically, no. But
Are you
I have
dating
2
this
kids.
child? What's going on here?
No, she's in middle school, John. Come on.
Got it. Well,
I can't date her. But yeah, that's where we're at. We're at multiple children. I was sort of untattooed when we started, and now
I don't even remember you untattooed.
Different human being.
Yeah.
There have been 4 different Chucks during the 9 years that we have done this. There was like
it's 8
Rastafarian stand-up comedian Chuck, whom I met and convinced to do a podcast, which quickly segued into recently divorced hip hop. I might be a rapper Chuck. And then there was like cocaine mule entrepreneur air quotes Chuck. And then there was like clean and sober. My entire body is a tattoo Chuck.
That's about a good of a description of my evolution as anybody could do. Yeah, you're right.
You've grown as a person. I've grown as a person quite literally. I've expanded as a person.
So the reason I can barely move and the reason I brought up all the children, I'm recuperating from a procedure. I had I had the vas def tied off.
Big snip.
I had the big snip on Monday, and I got to tell you, I didn't do great. I was not a great patient. You guys know I'm like John. I'm squeamish, and I'm not good with stuff. And it started off poorly. Walk into the urologist. They have at the nurse's station where you check in. They have a dry erase board with an inspirational message written.
Let's go.
The inspirational message was fear. FEAR has 2 meanings.
The mind killer.
It can mean forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. And I'm like,
I would have left.
I wasn't that nervous. But now I'm like, why do you have a thing about fear walking in here? That's not putting me in the right mindset where you're going to settle me down. Also, by the way, this place had a wreath of urine containers on the wall. Like they take in urine containers and put a bow on them. And it was like, was it July 4th supposed to be? Was it Christmas? Is it a year-round thing? It was very confusing. So I don't do great at doctor's offices. I didn't like the fear quote.
Are you really supposed to tell people who are about to go into a room and show their genitals to face and rise?
The face and rise is weird.
I'll rise, all right.
But also like, hey, don't fear everything and run. We're about to do incisions in your private parts. It's like, what? Anyway, so then I go and get the like the blood pressure, height, weight thing, and I'm like sitting in this chair and looking at this wall, and there's like all these plaques and like framed awards that it's like Doctor of the Year, Sam Chung, most outstanding urologist, Sam Chung, best Middle Tennessee practicer, Sam Chung. This whole wall, and then like, all right, here's your doctor, Dr. Johnson. Like, I want
the other guy.
Was my urologist's name Dr. Johnson? You betcha. So then, all right, I'm still like hanging in there, like, all right, maybe this will be quick or whatever. This will be cool. They're like, all right, get naked. We're going to prep you up. And so like, they're like, doing the surgery iodine all over like my parts. Like they're laying the surgery papers. And I'm like, I've seen this on TV and I'm getting kind of queasy laying here. This ain't great. And then I'm just laying there. I'm laying there half naked with like the surgeon light on my guys.
What stuff did you keep on?
And actually the t-shirt I'm wearing,
a
Round Ball Rocks slammed up t-shirt. I'm not allowed to shower. Like I'm still supposed to not shower for like 24 hours. And
you were allowed to change your shirt, Keith.
They did say that, but whatever. But anyway, they get me prepped. The guy gets me prepped. I'm laying there with just my pants off, just like naked to the world. And they leave me for an hour. I'm just sitting there for an hour, just hanging out, just waiting.
Was there any change in length during that hour?
I honestly, I wasn't looking. I couldn't feel it. I couldn't tell. But the guy comes in and is like, do you have any questions? I'm like,
only vast deference after that.
Yeah, well, so I was like, what do you mean by question? He's like, you have any question about the procedure, how it's going to work? I'm like, I don't know how to give a vasectomy. I was like, I have lots of questions, but like none of them are useful, I don't think. I asked him how long it would be. I was like, how long is this?
11 inches soft.
But anyway, they were like, at this point, my wife's just like, hey, he's kind of queasy, just so you should know. Like he's not great.
Oh, she was in there with you.
Oh yeah. I'm not going anywhere. Like I wouldn't have, I
so...
needed it. I needed a partner to support me there.
I don't think I could bear having my partner in there.
They did.
First of all, she very rarely sees it, if you know what I mean.
Right,
I think you do.
They did put
she certainly doesn't see it until I'm ready for her to see it.
They did pull a curtain to hide my shame, you know?
Yeah,
so like she's sitting behind a curtain still. But like they're like, hey, he gets kind of woozy with blood and stuff. And so the surgeon comes in and is like, so tell me about how woozy you get. You throw up, you hate blood. Like, what is it like? And I'm like, I don't know. I just don't like blood. Like, I don't like giving blood, but like, I don't want
Halloween 1 or 2.
Anyway, so they're like, so do you want to go but do you want to do it? I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Here's what I do. I put in AirPods and I start listening to Bill Simmons. And I'm like, I'm going to try to zone out on Bill Simmons. And, and they start, you know, like they gave me some injections. They're moving stuff around. You know, they're starting to do some work, and the guy's just talking to me, and I'm like, you know what, you're talking to me, and my brain knows when you're talking to me, you're trying to distract me, and my brain went into panic mode. I'm like, I'm not gonna be all right. And so the dude's asking me questions about the Premier League. He asked me something about like Arsenal or Everton, and I'm like, man, I used to like Tim Howard, Landon Donovan, bro. I don't feel all right. I'm not okay. And he was like, he didn't get it. He was like, you mean something about Everton? I'm like, no, I'm not all right now. I'm not okay. like I felt like flushed, and I felt like, you know, I started like everything got so hot. I started getting sweaty, and I'm like, I might throw up here. I might pass out. And it's funny. So like when I'm like, I'm not okay. The doctor just gets out of there. His job apparently is to leave the room. He sticks his hands up, just runs out. And then my nurse TJ, he's like, all right, man, what's going on? You all right? You know what, you need water? And so like we eventually, like, I'm like, I'm going to pass out. This sucks. I'm going to pass out here. Like my wife's giving birth, and like, I could barely handle being near her while she gave birth. And my wife's just sitting there like, this guy.
Most insane thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, she's being nice, but she's like, this guy's such a loser. I can tell, like, he can't even have his stuff taken care of. I've been in charge of birth control for decades. He can't even sit here for 5 minutes and let him mess around.
There is like an air of disappointment at all times.
No, I can
like I've been like, man, she's disappointed in me.
Yeah.
I'm like, so I've only met her like 4 times.
She kept telling me, you're doing great. She's like, you're doing great for the hand you were dealt. She's finally, I'm like, yeah, we get some juice in there. We get some juice, some crackers. You know, maybe it's getting a little late. I gotta have my blood pressure up and like raging. I gotta have a lot of sugar or whatever. So I'm like, I don't want to come back. I want to get this over with. Like, I mean, it took 4 months to wait for it. I don't want to go into like actual surgery where they put me under. Like, no, I should be able to handle this. So I go to my safe spot. Like they give me like 10, 15 minutes. You're
just like Nick Calathis.
No, it's really close to what I do. I'm like, let's get a game plan. I wait till all the feeling comes back in my extremities. I wait till like, you know, I drank the whole bottle of apple juice.
Oh my goodness.
I ate some crackers, and I'm like, I feel all right. Here's how we're going to do it. I need the doctor not to talk to me. I just need him to do what he's going to do and not to talk to me. And I'm going to watch the Larry Sanders Show on my phone like a toddler with YouTube. Like, I'm going to put on these noise canceling headphones. I'm going to hold my phone up to my face, and I'm going to watch Larry Sanders Show. And it took me there. It took me to my Zen space.
They keep you awake.
No, you have the option of not going. I don't even know what they did down there. That's the thing. I don't.
Man, they stabbed you in the junk, buddy.
Also, the first time when I got real lightheaded and almost lost it, I was kind of freaked out by the fact that he just talked to me continually, and I was thinking, shouldn't you be paying attention? Like, shouldn't you be focusing?
Remember, you got that big unit down there, Randy.
Well, they can find that Vaz Def easy. Yeah, he was broad strokes. I got a lot of
like Hannibal Lecter.
I want a guy who's talking to me if the guy's like clamming up,
not clamming up. You don't want him to be nervous.
No,
but
I want Greg Maddux in there.
I'm
zoning in on my darlings.
So my experience couldn't be more different.
Right.
I was having a pleasant conversation with a man about weapon systems in the United States Air Force that I worked on.
Yep.
It was tremendously fun. At one point I go, that hurts a little bit. And he goes, oh, okay, let me give you some more. And he numbed me up a bit more.
But you're very comfortable with your pants off.
That's true. I'm
surprised.
I've never gotten okay with my pants
surprised
down.
That was your first like penile body modification, if we're being frank.
I've never
for people Keith and I, like this is I can't like
I have
this
an
is one of those things
feeling
where
of
I just
shame.
can't believe that this and tattoos are the two things where it's like you do what?
I will
and you pay them? What?
I will say the sensation of the procedure, not unpleasant. It just felt like the pressure. Everyone says like you just feel tugging. This pressure. And it was like this just weird pressure the whole time. Yeah.
I'll be frank. If I felt pressure down there, I would achieve orgasm.
So
perhaps,
I mean,
I should.
I watched half an episode of Larry Sanders, and then they were done, and that was kind of
which episode. I want to know which one to never watch again.
It was the one. It was the one where he dates Sharon Stone and can't handle how she's more famous than he is.
If I watched a Sharon Stone episode of Larry Sanders, I definitely would have achieved
I went to my Zen. That's just my Zen space, man. This is my Zen.
The hottest one who ever lived.
So now the follow up, I was nervous because they're like, you can't do anything for a week, or like you should probably take 2 days off work. And I'm like, my work is podcasting, and they're like, oh, you should never do that again. And then, but then no, it's been thankfully everything's been pretty mild. It's just been all right. So
so I drove myself home for my vasectomy.
Yeah,
I just put an ice pack on it for a few hours, and I think I had sex 2 days later.
Well, you're definitely not supposed to, because that can undo the work.
I bet apparently, but it felt good.
That's the most Chuck story I've ever heard.
Yeah,
for all these years.
I was like, it doesn't hurt anymore. That means I could do it, right? And then, everything was fine. I did the test.
Keith, I'm going to wager that now that you've had this done, you never have sex again.
Now that I made the commitment, it's like, well, I'm good now.
After the festivities that took place in front of your wife, she will cease being attracted to you.
It's truly the risk that we ran with the procedure. Anyways, this is in our first episode of the season. We got to get to those over unders, but before we do it, got a few.
That was so long. Should we check off?
No, we can't. Give me some breakfast. We start every episode with your breakfast, John. What have you had for breakfast today, man?
It was show day, so I went Bojangles.
Oh, classic Bojangles.
Very special. But I got Bojangles for myself, and I've been told, maybe you guys can weigh in on this. I've been told I shouldn't refer to the person who assists me as my assistant any longer.
No.
I didn't know this. I've never worked in a corporate environment. His name is his title's assistant to me, but now I'm going to call him coworker. I got my coworker one as well. His was so much larger than mine that I felt like he should have had to cut a piece of his Cajun filet biscuit off and give it to me. Is that weird?
if you are asking your assistant for parts of his food, that makes you now a horrible boss.
Yeah.
It's not like
I didn't do it.
My coworker has more food, but I'm higher on the employment chain than I would like part of your food. You should not have the bigger Bojangles.
So
biscuit.
much internalized.
Why didn't the Bojangles people take a look at these two biscuits and be like, "This is off"?
This sounds like a scene from Casino.
Yes, the muffins.
I believe this is a scene from Casino.
The blueberries in the muffins.
Oh, yes, there's too many blueberries.
I mean, it's like a scene from. What's that Neil LaBute first film?
Swimming with Sharks? No, it's called In the Company of Men.
Company of Men. It's like that. Yeah, it's like just the horrible office workers and bosses. Chuck, what was your breakfast, man?
I waited. This is my one meal a day, so I waited until about an hour ago to eat some Ethiopian food.
Nice.
This is called a wash. It's in a gas station in the roughest part of Nashville, which is Murfreesboro Road. And it is the gas station was closed by order of the police, and they shut the doors of the gas station with a sign that they bolted to the frame of the glass door saying "Do not enter."
Is that for selling loosies?
I don't know what they were doing.
Selling for singles.
But I was
sell one cigarette out of the pack. They come and
you know about Lucy's, Keith? Have you ever bought a Lucy?
No, I do know there was a
watched...
I used to go to where they lost their ability to sell beer because they were selling them by the can. Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we so I was afraid that the Ethiopian restaurant, which is attached to this gas station, was also closed, maybe due to some sort of like issue with paying taxes or something for the landowner. But it turned out they were there. I ordered my what? That's called it's a dish, it's an Ethiopian dish called what? We could do probably a Laurel and Hardy bit here if we wanted to. But yeah, it was tremendous. It was meat and lots of really good flavoring and spices. The spices are tremendous in Ethiopia. So if you can,
that sounds delicious.
You eat it with your hands. You scoop it. You take the what's it called?
The what?
Injera.
The injera. That's it. I'm getting my assistant's helping me.
Yeah, that's right.
It's not the preferred nomenclature.
Do not call your girlfriend your assistant.
Yeah.
And then had the injera, ate it. Everything was great. But now I'm super full, and
that's
I'm
awesome.
burping up Ethiopian spices.
Well, my breakfast was, in fact, leftover stored up East Park donuts. I had them just sitting around, knowing I was going to be kind of lounging, kind of relaxing day after, and they were there for me. The right uplift of sugar donut, the start to the day that I prefer. Anyway, those were our breakfasts. After our breakfasts, we moved to our breakfast in bed apologies. This is our chance to make right something we might have gotten wrong in a previous episode. It's frequently the first time we talk about the NBA, which the show is supposed to be about. Does anyone have anything that they need to apologize for?
Well,
so for years I this is heat centric, Chuck, so forgive me for interrupting. I saw Duncan Robinson do well the other night, since the Heat were resting everyone.
29 points against the Grizzlies in preseason.
It reminded me of all the times I spent defending Duncan Robinson, saying that his hustle and sprinting around and everything was irreplaceable. I have decided that was poppycock, and I'm apologizing for saying it for so long. The Heat don't really need Duncan Robinson. They have plenty of great players. I'm sorry I said that.
Jamal
that was
Cain?
podcasterism. That was podcasterism at its greatest. And I won't do it again.
Well,
Max Strus effectively replaced him last year. It's fine. We don't need
You
to
don't
live
think
this
Duncan
life.
Robinson was fighting for his roster spot with that would have been a career high 10 made free throws against our regular Grizzlies players?
Like mid-range jumpers.
It was
taking
ugly.
People off the dribble into the rim.
It was rough.
Ugh.
Death by Duncan is not fun. I want death by Duncan Donuts, not Duncan Robinson.
I think he's come full circle. So like he's in the position where he is most comfortable again, right? Like the guy with nothing to lose. Because when he was like coming up on his contract, he was kind of in his head, and that was like a down year. And then when he got the contract, he was definitely in his head for the first half of last year. We couldn't hit a shot. Now he's back to that place where he's the 10th guy, and no one expects him to do anything. So he can light him up, and that's what he's been doing all preseason.
He's making $19 million a year, so by your definition, that's a good contract.
It's a great contract that allowed. Look, but when you pay Max Strus, who replaced him, $2 million a year, it averages.
Yeah, there you go, $21 million.
Yeah,
for 1.5.
Which is like $11.5 million each, which is the going rate for a good shooter in the NBA. Actually, it's a deal for a good shooter in the league.
It is a deal. Chuck, is there anything you need to apologize for?
Keith, I got really angry last week with you, and I yelled, and
yelled a lot.
I yelled a lot, and I was being real jerky, and it was the end of the 8th season, probably should. I know John had completely oblivious.
Seemed normal.
It seemed very on brand for me.
That's pod racing.
Yeah.
Now that's pod racing right there.
So
boys.
yeah, I just want to let you know that that's not the way I want to start season 9.
Okay.
With any sort of, I don't want any physical altercation to occur.
Well, I mean,
which can't.
It's worth pointing out, we were debating the merits of the Tyler Hero extension. You were yelling about. You said Tyler Hero did not make $19 million a year. He did, in fact. I didn't remember the exact details of the
Tyler Johnson.
Tyler
Johnson. Heat never paid Tyler Johnson.
It was like the extension was like 6, 8, 13, 19. Very odd, very odd financial distribution. Well, I appreciate the apology, Chuck.
You're welcome.
I'd like to correct something that I said it's wrong on a previous episode. It's more so I'd like to apologize just for being jaded and not mustering the enthusiasm I might have had in previous seasons. And it's for a really unspectacular trade. And just my heart wasn't in it. There's nothing I could drum up to talk about. There was this like Hawks, Thunder, Rockets exchange a while ago. I mean, some of the fallout has been like Teo Maledon has since been waived. Mo Harkless just got waived today on Tuesday, but I feel bad. I feel like the listeners come to us to get excited about, the bottom 5% of NBA players. When guys ranked in the ESPN rank 420 through 440 get traded, we should be excited, but I had nothing. And I feel bad. I hope I haven't just gotten, I hope I'm not callous to those more interesting, deeper cut stories.
I hope you don't get a callus on those deeper cuts. That could be bad in the old groin region.
Yeah.
Be tough.
So I don't know. I could stand a little loss of sensitivity. I'm fine with it, John.
Sure. Staying power.
But anyways, sorry for not being able to, we didn't even mention it. It was a trade we didn't even mention on the show. And I feel bad because I do feel like people come to us for those divergent, deeper cut stories. And just, I had nothing for them. Sorry. The great actor Sterling Brown got traded once again and not even a mention. That's our bad. Anyways, before we get to our steak and eggs best thing, I want to tell you a word from our sponsor, the Memphis Grizzlies. If you're in the Grizzlies area, or say Nashville, that counts, and you want to maybe make some money this year, how about flipping those Grizzlies season tickets? They are a hot item, and you can get the best seats for the best games at the best prices right now. Grizzlies season tickets start at just $11 per game. You can lock in your seats to see Ja, Jaren, Dez, and all your favorite Grizzlies make big time noise, or you can throw those bad boys back up on the secondary market and make some money. Anyway, if you want to get Grizzlies season tickets, do it by calling 901-888-HOOP or by clicking grizzlies.com. All right, steak and eggs, best thing. What's the best thing you saw in the last week? Chuck, what's your steak and eggs best thing?
I don't know if you guys heard, but there was a fight in the Golden State practice the other week. Did you guys hear about this?
Draymond Green punched a guy
through a wall.
He punched him hard.
Well, I think what precipitated this was first Tyler Hero got his bag,
right,
and then Jordan Poole became a punching bag. So that was those two events are tied together, I feel. What I am so curious as to how this video leaked. I want to know. It's from my head. It's gone from everything from an assistant who needs a few grand from TMZ to the president of basketball operations for Golden State trying to lower Jordan Poole's value. I'm not certain, but there's a lot going on
Chuck,
here.
Let's work it out. I mean, you say a few grand. I think TMZ paid a lot of grands. I mean, this is
and hundreds of grands.
I would say they paid comfortably, probably at least a year's salary of whatever person.
Yeah.
Did. I think the person who's leaked this video good chance they make.
Got to pay me enough to get fired.
Yeah, I would say there's a lot of NBA teams have people making like 60 grand, 50 grand, you know,
in San Francisco.
Yeah, can't even afford to live in San Francisco.
That dude has 4 roommates.
Like, it wouldn't stun me if TMZ is like 200 grand, you know, for a video of the punch. Because like, if the punch is that good, it's worth it.
Oh,
you know, it's so not good. Like, oh, hey, I got a Draymond punch video. Is it good? Like, oh, it's good. You know, like.
It's real good.
It's one of the greatest punches ever thrown.
If it turned out to be this little
Draymond
shove,
in higher regard.
I mean, everyone's talking like, oh yeah, like he kind of he struck him. It was kind of, it's no big deal. They've apologized, and also he was asking for it. Like there's all that weird stuff about that, and then we see the video, and you're like, oh man,
oh no, he's Superman.
And then it's really funny. You have a lot of ex NBA players saying like, that does not happen in practice. And then Steve Kerr's like, oh, I've seen like 20 or 30
of those
punches in my career or whatever.
I wonder how many people.
And then a bunch of people are, but then the people are pushing about like Jalen Rose is like, man, that doesn't happen in practice.
There's different kinds of altercations, and that one is really wild because of how incredibly and suddenly violent it was, and how like one-sidedly violent it was.
Well, I mean, Jordan Poole brought a shove to a punch fight.
Yeah. But like, if someone comes up and pushes their face onto your face, it doesn't matter how small or how you're going to be like, you're going to push it away.
Yeah,
like all the aggression came from Draymond, and it was just so much. It was so incredibly aggressive. Like Chuck and I spoke on the phone instantly after it came out. And we were like, this punch is about many other things.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of like, oh no, you're the guy who is getting my money. Right?
We're all assigning that meaning.
He hates this person.
I don't know what it is. I do think his apology was like, I felt like there was a little bit of slight-handedness to it. He's like, I apologize to Jordan Poole's family for having to see how much I destroyed him, and like
for the
greatest sunning apology ever.
Yeah. But then the punishment is I'm gonna take a paid vacation, and I'm gonna think about what I did, and I'm gonna
like a cop that got caught on his body.
Well, that's what it initially was. It's like, oh, we're gonna investigate this and handle this internally. We're gonna do the police investigate the police, find out the police did nothing.
It might be Draymond's taking time off to get his hand fixed.
Yeah,
because it's possible he broke a metatarsal.
Did you guys? Is this true? Did I get tricked online? Did they actually put a black eye in 2K? Is that real or not real? Does anyone know?
I don't think it's real. But
I assumed it was not real, but then I saw it multiple places. And it made me feel like, wait, this is actually, I don't know. This is old man Keith now. Where like, I can't even find, I need, like, I don't trust Snopes anymore.
It's okay.
But can Snopes let me know, did this actually happen?
Brandon Big Pun Connor from our Slack chat fooled half the internet by saying it was a pool party pun.
Oh yeah. Shout out Brandon, one of our Patreon OGs, getting the, he did the Appleman, or Apple Time. Incredible work. John, what's your best thing?
So I was really concerned about this and was probably going to keep it secret from at least Keith for a long time. That I have embraced my Zionist tendencies and am super excited about Zion Williamson returning. And I was feeling guilty about it, but then I remembered that the Grizzlies-Pelicans rivalry only exists in Keith's mind. And that the Grizzlies have like 6 teams that they care more about. And it's okay. I can like the Pelicans, and I'm going to like the Pelicans. And that's realizing that, because I was feeling like a lot of consternation about it. But
how are you doing,
McCollum,
John?
They got No Way Jose.
How are you doing about that? No Way Jose scoring 28 points in a preseason
28.
game. I didn't know if your heart can handle that.
Against your Detroit Pistons, and your
I think the Pelicans should be real good. And I'm nervous about how good they're going to be, but I'm definitely excited about the Zionism. Also, by the way, Garrett Temple, I want to give him a little acknowledgement. He's 1 for 11 from the field in the preseason. He's just reminding everyone that he shouldn't be a part of the regular rotation. My best thing, man, there's a lot of great preseason stuff going on out there. But my best thing so far, I guess from the last week, is Jonathan Kuminga of the Warriors. Maybe he's scarred from seeing the violence right in front of him in practice. But the Warriors were playing the Lakers, and they were down by 3 and had the ball a few seconds left, and Kuminga, down 3, just drives it straight to the hole and attempts a layup at the buzzer. No interest in continuing that game. Understanding the priorities in front of him. Let's just try to get 2 points under my name and let's get out of here. We have no interest in overtime. I love seeing that. An NBA player with his desires aligned perfectly with mine. I love watching basketball, but I don't want to watch the overtimes in the preseason. For whatever reason, I'm ready to get back to watching the Cincinnati Kid or whatever old movie I'm watching that night. I don't need it. So good job, Jonathan Kuminga. Those were our best things, our steak and eggs best thing. The opposite of our steak and eggs best thing is our cream of wheat worst thing. What's the worst thing you saw in the last week? John, what's your worst thing?
I guess it's a worst thing in that it's horrible to see, knowing what it's going to turn into, but I'm done with it. At least I'm done with being fooled by like preseason charlatans. Like every year I see like Jeremy Grant and I'm like, oh yeah, they got Jeremy Grant now on the Blazers. He's going to like shift into a different kind of role. It's going to be really impactful for the Blazers. And I'm like, no, I got to stop doing this. Like Christian Wood, I look at Christian Wood play 3 minutes of preseason basketball. I'm like, he fixed it. He fixed everything. This is going to be phenomenal.
He scored like 23 points in 18 minutes or something.
Yeah, I mean,
end of the year.
And I just turn these preseason things into things that are going to happen, and I let them affect my over-unders, and that's the story anyways. And I'm going back to, it's just preseason. Stop paying attention to it. Duncan Robinson hasn't regained his starting spot. Like, I'm going to, the preseason charlatans is my worst of the week.
Well, I always like
to phase them out.
The thing I always cite is, sorry, what's that guy's name? Josh Jenkins, who played for Vanderbilt.
John Jenkins.
The thing I always like to cite is there was a preseason once. There was a preseason once where friend of the show, John Jenkins from Vanderbilt, basically led the NBA in scoring. Yeah. And like, it didn't mean anything. And by the way, that goes to my worst thing. My worst thing is I was looking up the preseason stats to laugh at them like I like to do. And on the NBA stats page, which is already having its own problems on the revamp I talked about in previous episodes, it doesn't work great. Also, by the way, new league pass doesn't really work on most of my devices, but they have the leaders for the preseason listed over on this like right column. And I looked over at the NBA leaders for the preseason, and it was all these names of people I had no idea who they were. And I was like, are these some undrafted rookies? Are these like two-way players? Like, I've never heard of these people. And and it turns out they're not even in the NBA. There was a guy from the Adelaide 36ers and a guy from this Maccabi team. Like the player who as of Monday, October 10th, the player with the most points in NBA preseason, Jason Siggers.
That's not real.
Siggers. Jason, he dropped 40 points on the Thunder in a game they lost by 40. So this Jason Siggers guy scoring all these points. Somebody named Mitch McCarron is leading the NBA in assists this preseason. Turns out he's on that Adelaide team. So, all right. This is not xenophobic, but Americans step it up. NBA players step it up. Although actually,
looking at you, Garrison Matthews.
I'll be real. I think he's out for a while. So I don't even know where Mitch McCarron and Jason Siggers are from. But that's my worst. Chuck, what's your worst thing?
I'm getting really excited about preseason production so far, boys. I don't know about y'all.
We're on opposite poles.
I'm seeing things with my Miami Heat that make me super excited. We got some young boys playing the 4. We have too many power forwards. Where I was weeks ago saying that we had a PJ Tucker size hole at the 4, not anymore. I'm thinking Nikola Jovic, might be, or Jovic. I'm not sure. I've
Jovic.
heard multiple people
Jovic looks interesting to say the least.
I was thinking Jovic looks terrible, but
really?
I think I don't know.
I thought he looked kind of interesting.
I think he can hit a shot, and he could. Well, Keith, you thought Kelly Olynyk was terrible too, so I'm thinking if he's the basement
on a range. I never said Kelly Olynyk was terrible. I don't believe.
No, but comparatively, this is all I think. Actually, let's do not look that up because we probably did. No, but yeah, the Heat doing that thing again where they're finding dudes. They draft well, and they're finding dudes from nobody else wanted, pick them off the scrap heap and turn them into maybe rotation players.
This is a preseason victory lap of victory laps.
I love this. This is my thing. This is how I get down.
Insert Shabazz Napier.
Everybody laughed at me.
How the mighty Heat franchise has fallen. I didn't think you guys didn't even care about preseason
Everybody
results.
made fun of me when I was screaming about Max Strus in Summer League. And
he's have a good Summer League.
And then when he's starting in the Eastern Conference Finals, I just shut up. So this is how I react to this.
Good.
I was first on the Hassan Whiteside bandwagon.
You really were. At least you've put this in the worst things, acknowledging the flaw. I like that.
I will be annoying. I will be a super annoying Heat fan this year. Do not get it twisted. If you don't like the Miami Heat, you can watch me suffer because you probably think we're going to suck. So keep listening to listen to me cry. But I'm not gonna, because it's just gonna be victories all the time.
I thought the Miami Heat were one of the harder over.
Yeah, so so we're gonna get that in a second. When we get to the Miami Heat's over under, it's questioning. Chuck has already tipped his hand with a great poker face.
Slam the over.
Doesn't know what even the number is going for.
Don't care.
Before we get to over unders, we do have one single listener submitted question. The croissant questioner.
Birdman asks, it was recently reported that the NBA's highest paid mascot is the Nuggets Rocky, who supposedly makes over $600,000 per year.
Unreal.
If you were given that salary,
makes what?
$600,000 per year. And we're not. If you were given that salary and your choice to be the mascot of any team in the NBA, which would you choose and why? Relatedly, does Grizz have to pay out of pocket for the tables that he puts opponents through?
Wow.
I should hope not.
No.
But first things first, can we discuss whether or not we think the $600,000 salary has anything to do with the time that they publicly hung Rocky from the
he like me under the incisions of the urologist, Rocky lost it and passed out.
Yeah.
Maybe John, that's why it's hazard pay. Hazard
pay
dangling him from bungee cords unconscious 60 feet over the court.
That's unbelievable. And I know he doesn't get paid for just showing up for games because, a mascot has to do all sorts of.
Is this actually just Zeke Naji under the hood? Like, what's going on here?
Man, you know what the benefit of that $600,000 is? Rocky's not leaking any videos to TMZ.
Hell no.
Yes, that's true.
That man doesn't need that extra side cash.
If the Warriors had a mascot, I would be after him right now.
They still have Warriors, man? Is that guy still around?
There's like 5 teams without a mascot, and I think that's Bobo, man. And it's all like big, like kind of legendary teams, and then the Warriors.
There's no luxury tax on your mascot payments.
Yeah, come on.
If I had to be a mascot, and I would need to be paid tremendously to be Bernie, the Miami Heat mascot, which is a amorphous, basketball-nosed, like fever dream that somebody suffering from tuberculosis has right before they die.
And has there been a lot of backlash about are they making the Heat assign a gender to Bernie? I don't know. I don't know if there was some of that.
That's a great question.
Like is it a boy or a girl? Now. What chromosomes does Bernie have?
Bernadette.
Is it Bernadette? Is it Bernard?
Bernie
I'm only referring to Bernie as they them from now on. Yeah.
Bernie would be on my upper echelon of mascots I'd want to pick because I like the funny ones. I mean, any mascot with like the the dumpy
like a hula
belly
hoop around you.
Yeah, like
so
the
you're
comic
King
comic
Cake
waist.
Baby all day. King
Cake
Oh.
Baby would actually that
It's
would be
been a
my
long
dream.
time.
Or I would just take the old Pelicans. If you could do the pre nose job, the pre rhinoplasty Pelicans mascot, that would be my dream. I would do it for $300,000. I would take a 50% pay cut from what Rocky's
You
getting.
referring to Pierre the Pelican?
Yeah,
Nightmare fodder?
The scary nightmare fodder Pierre. Yeah.
Okay.
Is he scarier than King Cake Baby or which
King
one? They
Cake
have the
Baby?
two scariest.
So here's my take, and it's just the way I guess interpret the world. King Cake Baby was intentionally made to be creepy, which he is, and I like that. I like the fact
Ren
that
and Stimpy
Pierre
drawing
was naturally terrifying, and they didn't grasp it.
Yeah.
They just made a weird bird thing that was horrifying. As it turned out, it was unintentionally terrifying. I like that more than let's do it's like a movie that's so bad it's good. When you do the so bad on purpose, I don't like it as much. Like Snakes on a Plane fell short to me. Like this is too self-aware. I need blissful ignorance for the garbage you're creating.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I've counter with Sharknado, one of the greatest awful movies of all time. Ian Ziering.
Doesn't do it for me,
performance.
but it's fine. I'm glad it works for other people.
Rumble the Bison's bangs are very humorous to me.
Is Spike Lee the Knicks mascot?
In theory, since they don't have one.
They should pay him at least.
He should get paid to go to games, but James Dolan.
It's wild he still has to pay for tickets.
Is drunk Charles Oakley the Knicks mascot?
He wasn't even drunk. Why are you being a water boy for a billionaire? That's a fake narrative.
I want to join the sure shots or the big shots.
The straight shots.
The sure shots. Anyways, thanks for the question.
I'm gonna say officially Moondog. I'm gonna be Moondog.
That's good. It's a great question. If you want to have your own question answered on air, or as part of our Millennial Brunch Zoom hangout that happens every month, or if you just want to play in our negative fantasy basketball league, the draft is this Sunday. This is essentially your final call. You got to be a Patreon supporter. You can still actually play regular fantasy basketball. We got room in my league, room in Chuck's league. Well, technically we don't have room, but we're going to make room if you want to sign up and join the Patreon at the $5 tier. You can also join our Slack where we talk about basketball and movies and vasectomies around the clock. So if you want to be part of our group of supporters, you want to be part of this little elite club. It's like Twitter with a cover charge, no riffraff. If you want to support the program, get involved, do that all. Patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast. And again, final call for fantasy basketball. If you're confused about anything, just send me a DM. But if you want to get involved, Patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast. All right, it's now time for our Eastern Conference over-unders. We used to do this where I tried to be totally ignorant of all the lines. I would go the entire time not knowing what Vegas lines are. That's impossible now as sports betting has taken over the world. And the lines are everywhere. So I have seen some of these. I haven't totally absorbed them. I would still say there are many. I don't know the actual numbers as they are now. But the way that we will do this, we'll go to the Eastern Conference. We will do it alphabetically. I'm going to say how many games I think they're going to win. Then John's going to give me the latest casino numbers, the latest Vegas numbers on the what Vegas is projecting them. And then the three of us, we will pick whether or not we want the over or under. Also, before we dive in, I got to give you our bona fides. We've been doing this. Like we said, this is our 9th time doing this. A lot of people run away from their results because guess what? A lot of people do this. Their results aren't very good.
Or they don't even make mathematical sense.
That's right. We make sure our win totals out at 1230. Right. And also, we like to give you how we've done over the years, and it's been pretty good. Now, individually,
I made a move last year.
Well, last year John messed up pretty bad. We're gonna blame Parenthood, and he was just a little bit overwhelmed.
COVID. Do I get a bubble year?
John had been our leader, but fell on his face last season with an unbelievably terrible. Honestly, this is the worst season any of us have ever had. 13 and 17. I mean, 13 and 17 is not like out of the ordinary for prognosticators. Yeah, like 13 and 17, it's not good. You lost your money, but it's very bad for John, who normally does excellently. I did 16 and 14 last year, also not good. Below the standard that we expect. Chuck knocked it out of the park last year.
Bushwhacker walk.
You're welcome, boys.
Chuck went 21 and 9. last year, which is absurd, incredible. But here's the thing. We don't recommend our individual results because those can vary year by year. The power is in the group thing. The power is when we come together. And historically over the years, like I'll tell you over the years, in 8 years, right now, Chuck has taken over the lead among the three of us. Chuck is picked in 60.3% winners, which is great. John is at 60.2% winners after falling on his face last year. I am the caboose pulling up the rear at only 57.7% winners. But the fun is when you combine our knowledge, when you go with what 2/3 of us say, in the last 8 years, 65% winners. We are 136-74-3. Now, the previously undefeated 2/3 rule failed us last year because John was a pile of garbage.
And he sucked, dude.
So last year, our 2/3 rule was an embarrassing 15-15. And get this, John. We've said this before in a summertime episode, but I'd like to re-highlight it in case anyone missed it. John, when you strayed from the path that Chuck and I laid down, when you did not agree with me and Chuck, you were 2-12. You were 2-12 on over-unders last year when you went out on your own, which is hilariously terrible. Again, I'm chalking it up as a one-time blip. I'm not worried about. But here's the good news, John. When we were unanimous, even last year in one of our weakest years, when we were unanimous, 11-5, 68.9% accuracy. And get this, coming into last year when we were unanimous on our over-unders, we were 68.8% accuracy. So it's not that we did good last year. It's that we did the same we always do.
Despite me.
The process works. The process works. So we will start this week with the Eastern Conference. We will start with the Atlanta Hawks. I will say historically, I do much worse in the Eastern Conference. It doesn't take a genius to figure out. I watch more of the West.
He does. He stays up late.
That's right. I watch my Grizzlies and then I stay up late. We'll start with the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks let me down last year. They let a lot of people down last year. They did make a big move this offseason to bring in DeJounte Murray. They got rid of Gallinari, who was a little bit cooked. I think they will miss Kevin Huerter, but I think it seems to be pretty good. But I'm not a huge believer in this Atlanta Hawks team. And I'll just go ahead and say, I'm guessing what I have right here is going to be an under. I think the Hawks are going to be all right, but I think they're going to be in that play-in range despite the big moves. And I have them at 45 wins. What is Vegas right now thinking the Atlanta Hawks are going to win?
The measliest of unders is they're at 45.5.
That feels good.
I'll go first because I also have them at 45 wins. So, yeah, I'm not like a super believer, but honestly, it would just be hard for this team as constructed to me not to get somewhere in that ballpark. I mean, I think they're going to win more games than they lose, but just slightly. So I'm a slight under as well. Chuck, 45.5 is the number for the Hawks. Do you think the addition of an all-star is enough?
I think they're going to stink it up at the first half of the season. They're going to fire Nick McMillan. They're going to burn through the second half, but they won't hit 45 wins. I'm going with 44. I think, I think they've got the talent, but I don't know if they've got the coaching.
Keith, I dare you to write down all of Chuck's numbers that he says and see if they add up to 1230 at the end.
Don't you dare. Don't you ever dare.
We come out of the gate with a unanimous under on the Hawks, but like I think
I'm already miserable. This seems bad.
Like we feel pretty good about them. Here, like one thing that's holding me up is
That's
I feel
a tricky
like
number.
They have, I think they're missing 3-point shooting that they need, which feels weird about a Trae Young team. They're depending, I feel like to hit over 45.5, you're depending on a very healthy season from DeAndre Hunter. You're depending on an Onyeka Okongwu, kind of a mini leap. I think Capella, I don't think his health is great. I just looking the way he played last season, like he's either bad or his health isn't great. I'll give him the possibility that maybe he doesn't feel super healthy, more Achilles soreness or something.
Can I say like good things about the Hawks and still pick the under? Because
I personally also overrate Justin Holiday. One of my guys.
Gallinari being gone is a big plus.
Could be a big plus.
The Hawks just so many times I would look up and they'd be playing players that were bad. And I feel like now they're kind of forced out of it. Although Capella, I don't know, but yeah,
I don't know. It's a weird. It's a weird team. They might trade for Jay Crowder. They're being rumored to get Jay Crowder. I think Jay Crowder would be a good fit for them. But also, like their front court is strange, just with John Collins in there, and so there are a lot of other Eastern Conference teams I'm much more confident in, and so I guess that's why I end up with 45 wins, right on it. But I guess we're unanimous under. The next team is the Boston Celtics. Also, by the way, I have to ask you guys. This year's over-unders, because of the whole Wembanyama and Scoot Henderson thing.
Oh, man.
How much are you guys considering the fact that multiple teams just aren't going to try? Like, as far as I can tell, like 11 teams are going to try in the East. Maybe 12. I guess 12. There are like, I think general consensus NBA thought that the tiers of the East, like you got the Bucks, the Sixers, the Celtics, the Heat. Like no one's questioning their definite playoffs. And then like the Raptors and Nets and Cavs are probably next. You can argue whether or not some of those are more secure than others. And then you have like the Hawks and the Bulls. And then for me, it's like the Knicks. And then there's like Wizards, Hornets. I think they're going to try, but no one thinks they're going to be good. And then you have the Pistons, Pacers, and Magic. No one has any hope in. Like that's generally what we're thinking, right?
In the East, I have just like a single tanker.
Okay.
And in the West, I have 3 to 4 tankers.
Yeah. So when I did my numbers, I had 4 hard tankers in the West. There's really in the West only 11 teams going for those 10 play-in spots. I guess in the East, it's possible, and we'll get to them when we come across the teams that there could be. But I guess the question was, are you guys adjusting your over-unders at all? Worried about maybe 5, 6, 7 teams are going to try to lose them all? Are going to try to go like 18 and 64?
I think it all but guarantees we'll get like a 60-win team, which we usually do. But I can't adjust the numbers too much just because that's for me, planning for something like that would lead to a catastrophic shift in the numbers. So I just have to. I'll say this: like when I looked at the Thunder and saw what they were equipped to do, I was like, I'm going to subtract 3 wins because they are the Thunder. And they don't want to win.
They don't want to win. Right.
So it was very there was not a sound methodology here, but I didn't plan for it too much. No.
All right.
Yeah. And Keith, I think your question implies that I have a strategy, which is laughable.
Okay, good. Just go with the gut.
Guts. It's all guts here, boy.
Gut health,
feeling.
Probiotic.
The Boston Celtics, this team should be incredible. They made the finals last year. The second half of the season, or essentially like 2/3 of the season, they just dominated. They're adding Malcolm Brogdon. I feel like unless some kind of weird internal strife or Malcolm Brogdon's joints bring them down or Jaylen Brown's restless spirit, they should be incredible. Robert Williams is out for a while. That's going to be a big issue. He was a big part of their success. So I'm not sure what to do with this team. I'm as much as I want to boost some of the win totals because of the tankers, there's other teams like the Celtics where I'm like, they know they don't have to worry about the regular season. And because of that, I don't think they're going to be pushing for wins a lot of time. And so like, I've kind of feel like I've toned down some of my guys. Like I have the Celtics near the top of the East, but only with 52 wins. I feel like that's probably an under, but what's Vegas have them at?
Tis an under, as Vegas has it at 53.5. Chuck, what are your thoughts on such a number?
While they were on fire the second half of the year last year, they were like middling for the first half. And I think this little coaching kerfuffle that's been going on may be a distraction. It may lead to some the post-finals hangover may occur for them through the first half of the year. So, yeah, I see them doing like 53 wins. Close, but not over.
Man, so also the front court. There are some questions in the front court. John, what's your feeling on the Celtics?
I hate to break up the party, but I am an over 55. Don't think coaching matters enough to care about Udoka's absence. And I'm a big believer in the West Virginian legend, Joe Mazzulla.
Well, there you go. We have them with a bunch of wins, all of us over 50 wins. Does that make them your 1 seed, John? Is 55 wins, or not to spoil you, do you have a higher number than that coming up?
I actually have them in a 3-way tie for first.
All right. I honestly, I have a lot of ties.
I have too many ties. My thing is broken.
Yeah.
I think they're the third best team in the East.
All
Maybe
right.
second.
The Brooklyn Nets are next alphabetically. A lot of question marks with the Nets, although we have seen Ben Simmons playing in preseason. Kyrie Irving, you would assume, is on his best of behavior this year, looking to get a big contract next season. Chuck, what's your feeling on this Nets team? How do you think they're going to do this year?
Well, do we need the number first, or what do you want to do?
Let's let Chuck cook.
Let me go. I think they could be the number 1 seed or get bounced in the first round.
Yeah. Chuck, what do you think this number is?
Why not both?
Or both.
What do you think this number is?
I'm thinking the internet gave them, I don't know,
I'll tell you,
50 wins.
That feels
50 and a half.
So they're at 50 and a half.
Yeah,
that's higher than I would have thought it would have been.
I thought it was very high.
I'm taking the under because of the uncertainty of whether or not their best player will be on the team by the trade deadline.
So,
or how many games he plays regardless.
Right.
So that's the first number. I hadn't seen that number, and that surprised me how high it is.
Yeah, it got me too.
I thought I was going to take an over because I put him at 48 wins. 48 wins is where I have them. And here's my thought process. So first of all, they won 44 last year, which was just a weird year. And all right, so 44 last year. Yeah, they're different. No James Harden now. But here's the way I added it up. They're going to play 40 games with KD and Kyrie. They're going to be awesome in those games. I got them at maybe 28 and 12 in those 40 games.
I get
that. They're going to play 20 games with just KD and no Kyrie. They're going to go about 11 and 9. And then that leaves 22 games with Ben Simmons only. Maybe 9 and 13, maybe right around there. That got me to 47. And I'm like, maybe I undershot him. I'll give him one more. So that was my thought process. We're going to get 40 games. Maybe they go 30 and 10. Maybe they go 31 and 9 in those 40 games with KD and Kyrie. But adding it up to 51 to get that over seems high. So I guess I'm happy taking the under here.
Yeah, I've got them at 46. There's just too many variables. And I think it's a log jam. And I don't know how many games KD is going to play. I don't know how combustible this situation is. You got to remember that KD tried to fire everyone during the offseason.
He literally asked for the GM and the coach to lose their jobs.
If we're going to dock the Celtics for what's happening there, if we're going to dock the Dubs for someone getting punched in the face, I'm really, really ready to dock the Nets.
All right.
For a truly combustible situation.
I'm 3 for 3 on unders. So Chuck, are you feeling an under as well, or do you think they can fly over that? Okay. Wow. Yeah.
There's no way that Kyrie doesn't play half the games, period.
Right.
He just doesn't. Then there's, the uncertainty of what Ben Simmons is going to mean. If that doesn't work, KD's going to just go back to what he was doing in the summer. And
Joe Harris might be cooked.
So there's a lot of very strange occurrences. So I'm going under, but 47, 48.
Yeah. A unanimous under for the Nets. The Charlotte Hornets are next up. News right now, there's a grade 2 ankle sprain for LaMelo Ball. Is going to miss some at the beginning of the year. I mean, this team, just an awful offseason. I don't know if they had offseason plans before before Miles Bridges committed a felony. Because after that happened, they basically didn't do anything. I don't know what they could have done, or if they decided to be all right, this is not our year.
Maybe they're Wembanyamaing.
But maybe they're Wembanyamaing. They won 43 games last year, which we were all wrong about this team last year. They have LaMelo when he gets back. He's like a do everything engine for a team. I remember, and they're not the same player, but I remember Jason Kidd dragging a bunch of dudes to the finals back in the day. Why can't LaMelo Ball drag this team to a 500 record? It seems feasible to me. So I'm confused. I feel like I underrate this team a lot, but I penciled him in at 36 wins. Which has them on the outside looking in for my play in action. But what's Vegas's line on the Charlotte Hornets?
I mean, you are an incredibly slight under 36 and a half.
4 for 4 unders for Keith. Wow.
Whoa.
Unders hit 57% of the time.
Well, yeah, it's my new strategy.
You must know.
Yeah.
I'm surprised this number. I think the Hornets are going to be really bad.
I like their starting lineup.
I have them at 30 wins. So
I like their starting lineup a lot, but they got nothing beyond the starting lineup. I like LaMelo Ball, Terry Rozier, Gordon Hayward, PJ Washington, and then Plumlee or Mark Williams. I like that. I think that's pretty solid. But like beyond that, I mean, James Bouknight, the dude can't even make shots in the preseason. He's shooting like 5% in the preseason, and I don't know what they're supposed to get. Like Cody Martin's all right, but they got so many questions. I don't know.
He's no Caleb. Miles Bridges mattered for them. Like,
he was a huge mattered.
Yeah. And the not having him on the team is going to be have a big impact. So I'm going under 2.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if that line is going to move even based on the ankle injury. Cause it's like, I mean, a couple of games can obviously swing these things, but yeah.
I mean, how many games does Hayward, their second best player, now miss? That's rough.
I mean, we were unanimous unders on the Hornets last year, and they crushed their over-under. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe we're just, I guess, disrespecting them one more year. They can use that as motivation to make us look silly. The Chicago Bulls.
This one moved a lot recently, but we're going with the latest and greatest.
The latest and greatest line. I can imagine, like, this is one of those teams where I could definitely do the range. I could talk myself into a really high, really low. I feel like this team just goes a hair over 500. I don't see, like, they're trying to decide between Javonte Green and Patrick Williams. I feel like they've already given up on Patrick Williams. You know, like, their great hope for, like, that's the thing.
Plenty of lip service being paid. Plenty of lip service being paid.
So, like, you know, Lonzo Ball's going to be out for a long time. I don't have a great feel. I don't have a great bit of optimism. So I think I'm going to go with 43 wins, and I'm worried that might stick me in over territory.
It's an over. It's an over the latest. They jumped up from like 38.5 to 41.5.
Wow.
So
wow.
You were way over. Now you're just slightly over, which
I don't like that, but it's about time I got an over.
Yeah. Chuck, where did you end up?
Man, this is hard. I don't want to bet against DeMar DeRozan because he continues to make me look stupid. I think he sucks in the postseason, so that usually clouds my thoughts about him in the regular season. I'm going to go under because somebody's got to lose a bunch of games in the East.
You've also picked all unders.
Don't worry.
So, I've also picked all unders.
Which is like, all right.
I like how Chuck just saw how poorly I did, and it's just rolling with Keith. Just rolling with Keith.
No,
you guys have like
guts.
You guys have like a Stockton Malone thing going right now. Unfortunately, Chuck, for you, I'm under.
So, all right. Okay. So 2/3 under on the Bulls. Boom. It makes sense.
Just not a believer.
The Cleveland Cavaliers had a huge offseason. Obviously, bringing in Donovan Mitchell. They won a bunch of games last year, despite having Jared Allen go out with injury. I think this team is going to be good, but this is a team where, John, you're saying you're not going to be swayed by preseason. This is the team where preseason, despite the fact that Karis LeVert's been really good, who's always like been my like go-to punching bag. I don't like the vibes that much of this team. Where I'm like, I don't know if they're going to be an upper team in the East on this year one go of having this new awesome young core. So I'm kind of tempering my expectations and doing a 48 wins, 48-34 for the Cavaliers.
We are the same, you and I, and we are just a half game over. They're 47.5.
I don't like it. I don't like being over the over, but I guess I'll accept it.
So would you just like to go 32 for 32 on unders? Is that where you want to be?
That's 30 for 30. Yes.
30 for 30. Just get right there, the sweet spot.
I do Chuck, feel like that would be fun.
I'm okay with being over on this. I was surprised at the number being so high. I guess last year was quite a year for the Cavs, but that 47.5 that's pretty low, you know.
That's a pretty high. I don't feel comfortable going over here, even though I'm gonna stick with my my process on this one. Chuck, do you think this team's gonna be good, or you want to keep your under streak rolling? There's not that many wins left over when the Heat go 77-5.
When they only lose once a month for the entire season. Yeah, I think I'm going over. They're better, and they're gonna be good, and the Bulls are gonna suck.
Unanimity, boys.
Yeah,
I was ready for this to be like a more impressive over. I'm really surprised that they're like, what are they, 4 more wins projected than the
one
Hawks?
thing the Cavaliers have going for them is their division.
Yeah,
right. They get to play the Pistons and Pacers and the Bulls. I think they're better than the Bulls. They get to play those teams 4 times each. And there is some of that I look at this in these over-unders where like these East teams where, especially for like your Heat, Chuck, a little bit easier schedule than some teams because of your division mates. And so I guess that makes me a little happier to be on the overside and us to be unanimous on the over with the Cavaliers, because I do think they are the second best team behind the Bucks in their own division. But we'll move to the next team, which is the Detroit Pistons. So the opposite of the Cavaliers preseason vibes, I kind of like the Pistons preseason vibes. I loved the addition of Bojan Bogdanovic just as a guy who could score for them. I also have been thinking a lot about like, who's the team? Will there be a team this year that's like the Grizzlies a couple years ago, where in Ja Morant's rookie year, they made it to the play-in, where people thought they were going to be the worst team in the West. And it was enough just to have some competent dudes and then an exciting burgeoning superstar as a rookie. And I look at the Pistons and I'm like, what if Cade and or Jaden Ivey hit? What if those are the guys? And like, this team has enough veterans around them where they can be kind of good. So like, I'm being pulled a lot of directions with this Pistons team. I think I settled on a number that I'm guessing is going to put me over, but I'm going to give them 30 wins with a possible even higher upside. So where does 30 wins put me, John?
I also have 30 wins, and that puts us lightest of overs, 29.5.
I kind of knew it would. Yeah. I'm happy to be there. I like the Pistons.
31 wins.
Hey,
I'm going to give them some sneaky victories against good teams. Their youth and Jaden Ivey, if he's rookie of the year, they're going to be, real punchy.
I know we like doing this. I thought if we combine the Jaden Ivey, Cade Cunningham production, we could make one player called Caden Ivingham.
Oh, genius.
Caden Ivingham?
Caden Ivingham carried. Motion carried.
Here.
Next alphabetically, after we go unanimous over on the Detroit Pistons, this is the team that probably is going to shut it down and try to lose their last 30 games.
First,
they're going to do it. They're going to have 29 wins on like March 1st. And then they're going to lose their last 18. And I'm going to be like, this is terrible. The next team up, Indiana Pacers. All right. I'm going to blow some minds with the Indiana Pacers. I added up all mine for both conferences to make sure my numbers worked out just right. I'm already telling you right now, I'm over on the Pacers. I don't understand. I think they have the same level of talent as the Hornets, if not more. I know they might trade Buddy Hield and Miles Turner, but
that'll make them better.
But the roster here does not scream like 22, 23, 24 wins. Like, they have Halliburton. They have Chris Duarte. I like Benedict Mathurin. I like Isaiah
Jackson.
I mean, I like podcaster's favorite Terry Taylor, TJ McConnell, Jalen Smith, plus Buddy Hield and Miles Turner. If you gave all those players to like the guy we used to think Rick Carlisle was 7 years ago, or when we started the podcast 8 years ago, you would expect this team to be frisky and good. And I think this might be the weird team because the Indiana Pacers don't lose basketball games outside of last year. They're normally solid. I think this could be a shockingly okay team. They could also win 12 games. I am going to give them 33 wins. And I assume I assume I'm a double-digit over. I'm going for the Pacers. Let's go Pacers.
Almost.
I got them. This is my surprise play-in team.
This is Caitlin Cooper pandering.
Caitlin Cooper thinks they're going to be awful, and that proves that my opinion is wrong.
Yeah, this is the worst pick of the show easily.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you are over.
I know I'm over.
I'm stunned by my over. I have them at 24 wins, which is an over. 23.5 is the number. Yeah, I mean, they're going to shut it down. Even if they do well, I think this is I know the Pacers always try to win, but I think this is a perfect storm of things happening. I think I know they have a lot of talented players, but I don't think Carlisle's good anymore, and I don't think they necessarily fit together well. And I think Buddy Hield is horrendous, and I think Miles Turner will be kind of exposed out there alone. And I think the Pacers are bad. So I hate to be over.
You got that over.
I hate to be over.
I'm still mad that the Magic somehow didn't get their over last year.
Yeah,
I might have wagered actual currency on them going over 22.5, and they got 22. No, yeah, I love this over. John, I'm glad you're riding on the Pacers with me. Chuck, what are you going to go?
Under.
Some sanity.
So right now in scouting departments across the league, they're just men with boners looking at Victor Wembanyama footage, and they're drooling.
They're basically exactly like Chuck 2 days
if you lose,
getting his nuts cut.
It's a good reminder for everyone out there. If you lose all your games this year, you have a 14% chance
still
at Wembanyama.
So there's going to be, and somebody's got to be the worst in the East, and it's going to pay off. This is the year
this is the year.
And not only, maybe you get the second pick and you get the Ja Morant to the Zion Williamson,
Scoot Henderson.
Draft. You get Scoot. So there's more reason to suck bad. And we will
If you lose all your games, you have a 28% chance at Victor or Scoot, and then also a 20% chance that all your fans will become Grizzlies fans.
Right.
So whatever. Just whatever you do it.
I'm not here to debate the merits of tanking. I just know it happens.
It's the system we have. And listen, I understand it.
They might not win 20 games. I'm thinking teams are going to be sure to be in those bottom 3.
It's going to be so funny. You're going to have 7 teams that don't want to win, and they will play each other.
Right.
And somebody has to win these games. But all right. So that's a 2/3 over. Chuck with the words of sanity, taking the under. Now, Miami Heat. Chuck, it's your team. This team is consistent and solid. They're going to, presumably outside of disaster, they're going to win high 40s, low 50s. I feel like right around 49 or 50 is where I want to be. I guess I'll go 49 and
over.
All right. What is it? 48.5?
48.5.
Yeah.
Chuck, I'm
fine with it. Well, he already said he's over. That's a disrespectful line to Chuck.
It is a disrespectful line. It makes me feel weird about my own call of 50 wins. What's up with this line?
I think they're like a 52 win team.
Yeah.
I think they've got.
Nobody won more than 50. What was 51?
51.
No one won over 51. Like the Grizzlies.
That's a weird year, though.
I think the Heat had 53 last year, the 1 seed. But no one won a lot of games in the East. They don't do it. Like Jimmy's not going to play back to backs. Kyle Lowry
55 is the top number this year. So
I think having a deep team is going to help them out, and they have a coach that'll have fun seeing what Bam and Omer Yurtseven minutes look like, and it's going to probably be great. And for the regular season, and then in the playoffs, he's going to play 7 guys. But that's the way it'll go, and they'll win 51, 52 games.
So we're unanimous over on the Heat. The Milwaukee Bucks last year.
That makes me feel.
I'll be honest. The Milwaukee Bucks, them only winning 51 games last year kind of messed me up. I kind of threw my universe out of balance.
Yeah.
Last year they didn't have Brook Lopez for the whole season, and I do think that matters a little bit. And I think I'm gonna give a lot of credit to Brook Lopez just playing this year. Chris Middleton's supposed to be back soon after wrist surgery, and I'm gonna put them up near the top of the East. I'm gonna give them 53 wins. I assume that's an over, since over unders are low now these days.
Just barely. It's 52.5. So.
All right. Well,
barely.
Me and Vegas once again sing eye to eye. I'm okay to be on that over side, but again, them not going over screwed me up last year. I didn't know how that happened. So
Chuck, what do you think?
What'd you say, John? Did you weigh in?
Not yet.
All right, Chuck, go ahead.
Let's see here.
I'm going over. I think they'll have better luck with injury than last year.
I was hoping to game Chuck into an under.
No, I like the Bucks. They're the one team that I respect in the
Yeah, me
East.
too.
Like,
We need this to be unanimous because this is
Yeah.
going to be. They're going to win a ton of games.
I think
got to
yeah.
be 55.
I don't know what is the situation with Chris Middleton. Is he going to be back in the first quarter of the year?
Yeah, he definally. Oh yeah, it's supposed to be the first few games or something.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be available for the opener. Is the latest thing I believe I read. But
but they're easing him back, and
but even when Middleton's out, like you have regular season dudes. This is what Grayson Allen and Bobby Portis are for, and this is what Javon Carter.
Grayson Allen,
like he's
next
for the
team.
He's for the regular season. The next team is the Milwaukee. No, excuse me. The next team is the New York Knicks. A confounding team. I like their depth. Honestly, they were a team in the preseason when all their main guys went out. I'm like, well, I like all the bench guys fine too. I like their center rotation fine. I like that Mitchell Robinson and Isaiah Hartenstein combo. I think Jalen Brunson, Derrick Rose, Emmanuel quickly. That's cool. Like I'm into it. But here's where I come back to the division thing.
Is this a Tibbs butt?
They are clearly the worst team in their division, in my mind.
Yes.
They're in the Atlantic, and that's just kind of unlucky. They have to play the Celtics, the 76ers, the Raptors, and the Nets. That's just unlucky.
It's a grindhouse.
And so here's my math here. They're going to go 6-14 in those 20 games. I even might think they might be okay, but they're going to go 6-14 in those games. They're going to go 13-17 in their 30 games against the West. And then I have them in all their other games against the East at 20-12, a very successful record against the other two divisions. And that adds up to like 39 wins. Which
I also have them at 39 wins.
Which feels if everything goes okay. I'm actually going to say everything's not going to go okay, and I'm going to dial that back to 37. I'm going 37 wins for this Knicks team. I think it's a bad draw where they're at. They're a mediocre to okay team, just stacked up against better teams. So yeah,
that puts you at an under.
Yeah, I figured. Is your 39 and under, John?
No, it's an over. The number was 38.5.
Oh, it's a good number.
I feel pretty good about it because I actually think like when you spelled it out like that, Tibbs grinds against good teams. He's going to do much better than that.
Oh, the 6-14 against the good teams?
Yeah,
okay.
He's going to do much better than that. Like this is a regular season steal a win type team. And this is a team that also will always go all out, even when they shouldn't. And I like the way the roster is built. I love their offseason if you don't like think about how much money they spent on certain things, but we're in Tibbs country, man. Regular season.
Also, Julius Randle is bad.
Terrible.
Chuck, what's your feel on the Knicks?
I'm gonna give him 40 wins, and I don't know why, but I think that's like the
respect for Marcus Camby and Allen Houston.
Yeah, yes, that's exactly right. I just don't think the roster sucks, and I think Jalen Brunson in a starring role is going to put up, incredible stats, and RJ Barrett's going to be better than he was last year, maybe more efficient. If that's the case, then they win more than 39 games.
Does Julius Randle suck? Yes. Tibbs going to play? Is Tibbs going to start the Frenchman? Also, yes.
Yeah.
Is that enough to keep him from being all we're talking about here is play-in numbers.
Right.
We're not talking and we're not talking about anything crazy with 39, 40 wins. We're just talking play-in numbers. And I think that's where the Knicks are. They're not going to tank. They're not going to get stomped by teams that have terrible rosters. So, I mean, I think this is where the Knicks belong.
So we got 2/3 overs. I'm the one under on the New York Knicks. We got 3 teams left.
Oh, I just looked at the Magic number and
we got 4 teams left. The Orlando Magic. Markelle Fultz broke his toe out for a little bit. Jalen Suggs just got injured. Jonathan Isaac doesn't really play basketball. Gary Harris is hurt. I mean, what in the world did the DeVos family do to earn all this bad karma?
I've made a mistake.
So if Paolo Banchero is awesome and Franz Wagner is awesome and Wendell Carter Jr. is okay, I think they can scratch their way maybe to 30.
I have them at 30.
I actually don't think that's very likely. I think everyone who dribbles on this team is garbage. And
You don't think Cole Anthony steals 5 or 6 wins they shouldn't have?
He's going to have 3 buzzer beaters, and that's going to get them up to 23 wins. That's where I've got him. 23 wins for the Orlando Magic. I'm out on the Magic.
That's a pretty big under. They're at 26.5. And here's Keith had the worst pick with the Pacers. I'm going to go with the second worst pick. I somehow have a massive over, and I have the Magic winning 30 games. What happened here?
That's incredible.
What am I? I don't know why.
I know it is. It's a weird obsession with Franz Wagner.
I did. Yeah. Well, it kind of is. Like, I really like their young players, and I'm hoping for some leaps. I also kind of got high because I think Jalen Suggs is truly abhorrent. And I think him being out might lead to some galvanization.
I've really gotten on board with, like, it's that second year. First year guard is just bad. I thought Suggs had some okay flashes defensively. His shooting was terrible. He was one of the best. He was the best per game player in our negative fantasy league last year. Then he got hurt.
I just
abandoned me in my time of need. I lost in the finals.
I've just never thought Jalen Suggs looked intelligent on the basketball court, including in college, and it got kind of compounded in the pros. I'm way over though. What's happening? Chuck, talk some sense into me, please.
I'm going under. They're gonna be bad. This is a hard team to even quantify.
Wembanyama drama. Yeah.
There's gonna be, they're gonna tank.
It's a terrible pick by me. Sorry to mess it up again, guys.
Yeah. They're gonna
but I'm not redoing the numbers. I got to 1,230. I'm not redoing the numbers. So
that obsession is killing me, Burr. But yeah, I think it's an important year to be bad. So
I don't see this team winning games early when they're like, hey, we don't have to shut it down yet. We're still excited about the season. And so I don't think they're gonna win games early, and then they're definitely not gonna win games late.
No,
right.
It's like, this team might win. This team might win 13 games. The Philadelphia 76ers.
Next,
unanimous over, right? No, I got them. They hurt me last year. I think they went a half game under their total, but they didn't have James Harden. They didn't have Ben Simmons. Like, when James Harden showed up, they were pretty good. Now they've got Harden plus Melton plus PJ Tucker plus Daniel House plus Harold to play 12 minutes. Like, I think this is a team.
They went and got all the Harden homies. They went and got all the guys that make James Harden an asset. I'm
putting him at 52. If the over under is lower than that, I might raise mine and just take it over no matter what. But yeah, I got 52 wins for the Sixers.
It's 50.5. Chuck, where do you
easy over.
I think this team wins 56 games.
Yeah, I got them 55 games. Yeah,
and then doesn't make it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Wait, so why are we casuals going so far higher than what the casinos put them at? What are we losing here?
I mean,
seems like an easy over. 50.5 seems like an easy over.
Easy.
They're trying to entice equal money.
Yeah. Okay.
This could be a dose of how far off Harden looked from his former self, perhaps.
But he doesn't have to be.
It could be a Joel Embiid's going to get hurt. They won't be that good. Which to me, even if Embiid is hurt, like the way this team is built, it's
still, win some regular season.
It's games. Like set up to be like the Harden Rockets, kind of like
it could be. Yeah.
Tyrese Maxey. I don't get it, which I guess should give us pause, but. I think Tyrese Maxey's really good.
You've seen Furkan Korkmaz with a little bit longer hair and clean shave? It's wild.
No.
It's just like a dude. Looks like an accountant. Just like a dude.
Shimmering vampire.
Just looks like a dude. All right. The Raptors, the Toronto Raptors. So I'm enamored with this team, but it's like a prerequisite to podcast. You have to be enamored with this team. And I thought last year they were one of the easiest over on the boards.
Well, I think they've gone over like 8 straight years or something insane too. So
I feel like they're in that top 5, basically, 5 or 6. I think they're on the. I think they're better than like the Hawks.
Better.
Butter definitely. I have them ahead of the Bulls and such, and so I've penciled them in at 49 wins. I don't see why they would backslide beyond kind of what they did the last year. Why would they be even better?
Clear over.
Yeah, I assume that would be a.
Number's 45.5. Chuck, what do you think?
I'm doing over. I think Scotty Barnes is going to do that thing where he's amazing all year.
Unanimous. I was at 48. I think this is pretty.
We're so
easy.
basic. We're so basic with the unanimous overs on the Raptors and the Sixers.
I'm not betting against Toronto. It's just not. I'm not wired that way anymore. I may have done it last year. So,
all right. So, the final team of our over-unders in the Eastern Conference, it is the Washington Wizards, a team who is going for it in an offseason where it seemed very clear and obvious for them that if they wanted to take the exit ramp and just trade everything and try to dive for the 1 year for the 14% chance at Scoot and Victor, or the 28% chance at one of those two guys, they said no. The object of sports is the competition, and we're going to try to win our basketball games. And because of that, they are stuck in this nether region of not being good enough. I think they're going to be 11th in a race that has 10 teams make the play-in. I have them 11th in the East. They will honorably, by my calculations, they will honorably win 35 games for the second year in a row. Where does that put me, John?
You're still an under. 35 and a half.
So close.
I'm with you. I think I see potential for the Wizards to really plummet because I think even their quote unquote good players are bad players.
Okay.
I think the trade they made hurts them pretty badly. I think Kristaps is kind of an empty stats guy. Bradley Beal's definitely the worst superstar in the league to me. If you want to play with those terms, I've got him at 30 wins. I probably should take some wins away from the Magic and give them to the Wizards, but it's too late for that. Chuck, what do you think?
They're going to do that wonderful early season, make us think we're all wrong, and then go 20 games below 500 the second half of the year. 32 games. That's what I got. So that's
unanimous under. 32. We remain.
I actually just looked over on this other thing, and turns out I didn't have him at 35. I had him at 37. So now I don't know what to do.
So you're over then.
I don't want to take their over.
Brad Beal sucked last year. He might suck now.
He might be bad now. What? Here's the way it's going to happen. Here's
defensively,
the way
it's going to be insane. So poor.
In a just world, this is what's going to happen. We're going to have 7 teams who win between 10 and 25 games. And then the Wizards are going to be 8th on lottery night, and they're going to get it all. They're going to play their hearts out to 34 wins this year and then be rewarded with that top pick. Yeah, I'll stick with an under 36.5. Yeah. So does that make it unanimous under?
I'm afraid so.
I don't feel confident enough to trust it was a gut call. I didn't do any arithmetic. There was no formula that got me to 37.
I don't think you did on the others either.
I had a formula for 2 teams. I added up the Knicks record against their division, and then I had a made-up fictional one for the Nets.
Some Alex Jones numbers over here.
All right, so we are once again unanimous on a good number of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, are we really on 10?
It looks bad, boys.
That's boring. That's a boring consensus of thought. We are unanimous under on the Hawks, 2/3 under on the Celtics, unanimous under on the Nets, unanimous under on the Hornets, 2/3 under on the Bulls, unanimous over on the Cavs, unanimous over on the Pistons, 2/3 over on the Pacers. That's right. We are unanimous over on the Heat, unanimous over on the Bucks, 2/3 over on the Knicks, 2/3 under on the Magic, unanimous over on the Sixers, unanimous over on the Raptors. Maybe I should swap my Wizards. I'm going to go back to the math. I'm going to take the over. 2/3 under on the Wizards. I believe in you, Monte Morris and Will Barton. Carry that winning ways to the Wizards. Make your team proud. Par fadeaway, gentlemen. There's only a couple things I'm looking forward to. One is we have watch parties coming up, real life watch parties on Friday night, October 21st in Nashville. We're having a Grizzlies watch party where the Grizzlies and Rockets play. We will be giving away lots of Grizzlies prizes to everyone in attendance. There will be drink specials. We'll be over at Noble's Beer Hall in Nashville, Tennessee. So if you're anywhere near Nashville, definitely come out to Noble's Beer Hall. What things are you guys looking forward to in the coming week?
I can't wait to do this again.
Western Conference is going to be good.
Yeah, I can't wait to do this again. I have a little spoiler alert. I have 4 teams doing worse than the worst team in the East in the West. Does that make sense? Is that
I
a
also
sentence
do.
that makes sense?
I have 11 teams fighting for 10 spots in the West, and I have 4 teams that are going to blow your minds with the with that. So one of
we
our
have
guys,
a race to the bottom in the
one
West.
of our guys in the Slack, Jesse, our Patreon Slack, is doing a thing where he wanted to get other people to fill out their win totals to see if it added up to 1230, like the number of wins it has to be. And I did one pass where I'm like, I'm not going to get there. I'm not going to get there. And when I got to the last 4 teams in the West, it was like, oh, it turned out fine because I gave them no wins, and it's gonna be very, very funny. I'll tell you, something else I'm looking forward to. That I got my appetite whetted in the preseason. When the regular season starts 7 days from today, when we kick off the Jacques Watch, which is tracking if any player will match Jacques Vaughn's NBA record of missing his first 22 field goal attempts on the year. We had a preseason appetizer. I mean, not only is JaMychal Green currently 0 for 8 from the field in preseason, Johnny Davis, lottery pick for the Wizards, missed his first 12 shots in preseason. I'm excited. He almost got halfway. He got over halfway there. So he'll be one to watch for the regular season. Chuck, anything you got on your plate as this NBA season screams towards us?
Just more preseason basketball, weird takes, wonderful projections of players that might only get 6 minutes a game. And we're getting closer to the regular season. The dreaded offseason is almost done, and I can't wait for real ball. It's going to be awesome. If you want to support our program, do that at patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast. Again, reminder, last call for fantasy basketball. We can still fit you in a regular fantasy league. Also,
we
with
do
the
mean regular
fantasy league. That's at patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can follow us on Twitter at Fastbreak Break. Follow John, Master John Burr, Chuck, the mighty Chuck. You guys are the best. Thanks for listening. And remember, breakfast is the most important thing